So I'm going to briefly explain how the app is working right now. Here we have the main control panel, which allows us to add the days of the events that we are going to simulate, well, not simulate, but optimize, the hours in which the events are going to take place, the amount of tasks that have to be done throughout the days. This is not important. And this is the amount of people that will be participating as staffers in the events. We also have the possibility of dividing them into different groups. That's for one association, which is called UMA, which basically asked me to develop a functionality which allowed the program to equalize the amount of hours worked between groups. That means that this group is going to work the same amount as this group. It doesn't matter if they have the same amount of people or not. That's because of a very specific constraint that they had when developing their staff plannings. Here we have to change basically how many hours can anyone work consecutively. And this is the amount of hours that they would have to rest once they have finished their shift. So then we have a matrix to basically tell the program the availability of people throughout the days, and it has three states. Green is completely available, red is completely unavailable, and yellow is I'm available, but please don't call me only under an emergency or if you need to basically have people as a last resource. We can change the day that we are setting, and yep, we go into the demand. This is basically to tell the program how many people we need for each task at each hour in each day. Okay. This is taken directly from the Excels of the sections that I interviewed, and they showed me that they followed this system: task, day, and amount of people per hour. This is a matrix to tell the program if a person in particular can do any task in particular. That means that, for example, Arnaud right now would be able to do all of the tasks, but if I change it to red, it means that he cannot be assigned to any of the tasks that are here. This is basically to filter out people who are not captains or responsible people, or people who would be unavailable to do certain tasks, for example, SAPES, because they do not have the training. This is to ensure that the algorithm will assign a certain number of tasks to certain people in case we need it to, and this is basically to pair people or avoid their pairing. If I put this red, it means that Arnaud is never going to be with Nina working at the same time. If I put it in green, it means that the algorithm will be encouraged to put them together. This is configuration to basically tell the algorithm the priorities that it should follow when assigning people. Very briefly, here I'm saying there is a very big penalization for not assigning people to the tasks that I'm telling here that I need. Um, this is to force people to work at some places or at some hours, and I am able to change it here basically with these two buttons, but it is too long to explain in this video. This is the same. This is for forcing people. This is for further functions that I do not have the time to explain. This is to maintain the equality between groups. That means that this group is going to work the same amount of hours as this group, okay, and it is very high in the priorities, which means that it is going to be fulfilled, it is going to be satisfied most of the time. This is to ensure that if someone works, it works consecutively, not on the same task, but it works consecutively to avoid intermediate gaps that would basically bother people for having to work, stop, work again, stop again. This is to maintain an equality between people inside the same group. This is well, the rest of the weights are long to explain. it is interesting, but very long to explain for this video. So if I do just a basic run with one day, this amount of hours, this amount of tasks, and this amount of people, we can run it and you will see that it is done. It tries to maintain the same amount of hours per person. Here I'm seeing that the amount of hours is not equal. So it must be that the equality per group or global, because this is only one group, is very low. So I'm going to get them up. And now we can see that the hours are more equal between members of the same group. Here it was not the case because the algorithm was prioritizing other things. So, for example, I think it would be because of the amount of gaps between tasks. For example, this person is um, working, stopping, working again, and here it was only working in a continuous block. So to prioritize that, the algorithm chose to not give so many hours to Jean, but we can change that as the secretary general of an association or as a user in general. And yeah, here there's a small summary. It is still bare bones a bit because I'm just developing it. But in the end, it will be much more eye catching and easy to read. But here it's basically to debug and to show me if the constraints are being satisfied all the time. And yeah, that would be the a basic showing of how the application works. It's still it has a lot of potential still to develop, but I think it's a very good show of how it works. Um, yeah, and this would be around here. This would be the how do I call it? Yeah, the main code running Gurobi to execute all the constraints and to set the objective function and all the restrictions, the variables, blah, 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 blah. This is all here developed bit by bit and with the help of the secretary generals I have already interviewed. I hope you find this interesting. Thank you very much.